and the last short talk. I always have this luck of being the last speaker. So my name is Michal, don't worry about the pronunciation, and I come from Israel. I'm an interaction designer, and I'm very new to this context, so I'm here to share a thought and an idea and hopefully get your feedback. I'm going to talk about synchronization. Synchronization is a really interesting phenomenon, and it occurs on many levels. So this is physical synchronization, for example. You take 5 metronomes, each is clicking in a different tempo. You place them on a shared dynamic surface. And they synchronize. Isn't that amazing? Biological synchronization as well. You see tens of thousands of starling birds here, and they manage to fly in synchrony without bumping into each other. And this is called murmuration. And of course, people synchronize, and they synchronize in very interesting ways and expressive ways like this one. And actually, my work here is done because Chris, I think, had this synchronization, clapping, shouting exercise that we did, and that's all about synchronization, right? So I started reading about synchronization, and I found this research done by neuropsychologists, and it seems that if you take people and you put them across each other on a table, and you have them tap their finger for 5 minutes, after doing this, research shows, so you can experimentally show that they're more empathic towards each other, and they're more willing to help each other. And the kind of contrast between this very mechanical exercise and the profound emotional effects got me really intrigued, and I thought, could we design for synchronization? So our first attempt at this with my lab was to create something called 2 riders, and the idea was, instead of tapping fingers, to create a kind of a more organic, meaningful opportunity for motor synchrony, and to use interactive feedback to help achieve and maintain synchrony. So what happens is we have, let me just jump ahead for a moment. We have 2 bicycles, and they have a shared front wheel, so they're not going anywhere, but both people sitting on the bicycles can pedal, facing each other, and there's a screen that they can both see, and on the screen, they're kind of riding inside this animated world, illustrated world. And what happens is that each of them controls one half of the bike wheel, and if they ride in synchrony, then they ride and they get all these layers of illustrated content. But in order to do that, they have to really kind of be in tune with each other. So you can see a little bit of this. In the beginning, there's nothing, just the wheels, and now they're starting to be in sync, so they get the road, and then they get some sky and some buildings, and while they maintain synchrony, it gets richer and richer. And if they lose synchrony, then they start losing the layers. And a really beautiful thing here is that, many times when kids sit on the bike, the first thing they want to do, obviously, is to race. So they start going as fast as they can, but then nothing happens, and then they realize, and one of the kids put it really nicely, he said, the goal here is a tie. So that was nice. So this is kind of co-located synchronization, but what happens if people can't meet? And in our region, there are many people who are very close by, and they can't meet. So again, to be very humble, this is all experiments that I've done. I haven't done any of this in the peace context yet, but this is kind of my question to you. So this is the second project, and it deals with synchronization in a remote situation where people are not together. And the idea that we wanted to develop is really just about kind of simplifying the whole thing and just having a connection, a visual and motor connection with each other. So really just seeing the other and creating conditions for play, so making it more open than this kind of pedaling action. So this is music. It goes like this. The person in the room is seeing himself as a gray silhouette. And through the silhouette, he's seeing the person in the other location, okay, the woman. So only if they synchronize their movement, their location and their movement, can they actually see each other. So it becomes this kind of a window. And people go into a lot of effort to see each other. That's right. And it becomes quite playful. And in that sense, it's really quite beautiful. Yeah. So people stay and play for a long time, and what happens is that they leave the room and they're like, okay, where is this person? I want to meet him. Okay, so a few questions about this to you. One, is there real value in this even though it's such a small scale? It's basically one-to-one interaction. Can we scale it? You know, I can imagine a kind of network of these things, maybe open source. You know, where and with whom could this work in your view? And then, of course, there are technical issues. So this thing that you saw was working on the same network in an institution in our college, but what happens when you're really far away and you have latency? That's a challenge. And, you know, more generally, how else can we use synchronization for building peace? So, for example, could we have our leaders, before they sit down to negotiate, engage in some very simple synchronization exercises to be more empathic towards each other when they start talking? So, thank you.